right, Lab 4 has a variety of exercises to practice the basic dimensions of vowels from the first part of the Chapter 4 lecture, as well as to practice the sounds of the different vowel qualities some more. It starts with our vowel chart, which has 3 of the dimensions of vowels on them: the vowel height up the left side, the vowel advancement across the top, and then the vowels that are rounded inside that dotted rounding box. Our vowel qualities are E, as in the word see, I, as in sit, A, as in say, as in set, as in sat, dang it, computer trying to be helpful and not, as in, I guess I'll go with sock. I have to change the final thing there. Aw, which you might not have in your dialect, but that I have in saw rather than sa. O, as in so. As in soot. Oo, as in sue. In the central area, we've got our 2 versions of that we would have in, I guess, suck would give us a lexical item, and our 2 versions of that we will get into a little bit more later in this unit, as in something like sir. I have one more blank down here for the first half of my diphthongs that start with ah. There's the I diphthong, like in sight, or for that matter, just sigh actually would be good. So take the T off of there. The ow diphthong, as in sow, and then the oi diphthong, as in soy. And again, for your lab, really just filling in the symbols, but hopefully the example words will help you continue to learn exactly what these vowel qualities are. The next part of the exercise is to start actually using the information in that vowel chart. So we have a few simple single syllable words here where you are to identify the vowel and then give its vowel characteristics. Height, place, and rounding are on the chart. Tense versus lax is the new one. All right. First word is can, which would have the a vowel in it from our lower left part of our chart. Let's see, to get that symbol in there, I guess I'll go ahead and use my symbols in Word. There is an phonetic section in there, and actually that looks a little bit funkier than what I was looking for, because it didn't take me to the phonetic section. There it is. The IPA section is a good place to start. My first vowel that I'm looking for is the A, the ash digraph, the A and the E connected together. As it turns out, that doesn't happen to be in our IPA section because there are some languages that use that for kind of a regular spelling. So I'm gonna, I guess, hunt around for it. I could, there's something close to it, but it's got a little mark on the top. There's another one close to it with a mark on the top, so it's got to be around here somewhere. I could also use my IPA character picker online to find this symbol. And in some ways, that might be the more straightforward way to do it. There we go. There's a regular old looking A. And since I'm the phonetics professor, I should be sure to put slashes around that to indicate the sound. Okay, so the idea is we have this chart where A is down here in the lower left, which means that its height is low, its advancement is front, and it's not in the rounding box, so its roundedness is unrounded. The other characteristic that we have is tense versus lax, and I actually picked this set of words starting with S's in part because my little tense versus lax rule actually works pretty well here. So the tense vowels can be used in simple single syllable words that end with a vowel. So something like see or say or so. The lax vowels have to have a consonant at the end of them. So in the case of A, for example, we don't have words like sa or ba or fa. We always have to have some consonant at the end there, like in my example, sat. So that is going to make that a lax vowel. So I have a low, front, lax, unrounded vowel. And my Word document tossing in an extra line there for who knows what reason. All right, my next word is soul, which has an O vowel in it, which is an easy one because I can type it with a regular keyboard. Can see a bit of my chart there where that's located. So it is mid, it is back. I do have words like so that end with this vowel, so that would make it tense. And it is in my rounded box, so that would make it rounded. And again, something about my Word document formatting is sticking in a blank line when I type across there. Okay, pain has an A vowel in it, like say up there. That makes it a mid-front, tense, unrounded vowel. Next up, I have a rid, my I, which is in the second row here over on the left. So that makes it a mid-high, high-mid, front vowel, not in the rounded box. That rid, I vowel is the small cap I. So again, I guess I'll go to my symbols and try and track that guy down in the IPA section. There it is. And again, I'll put slashes around it to make it clear I'm talking transcription. So we have a high mid, front, I. We don't have words like bi or fi, so that's going to make that lax. We always have to have a consonant at the end of it, like in sit. And, unrounded, not in my rounded area. Last but not least, we've got cough, cough, cough. That's one of those words with the aw, open O vowel in it, like in saw. So again, that's a special symbol that I'll have to hunt down. Let's see, O-like things. There it is. These are funky syllables, but it is sort of vaguely alphabetical. A-like things and then a C-like thing, and a D-like thing, E-like things, and so on. So that'll kind of help you find things if you use this method. Again, I might recommend the IPA extensions webpage because that lets you pick things out of an IPA chart, kind of like the chart we have for our English consonants and vowels. All right, so I got my aw in there. That is here in the lower-ish right part of the chart, so that makes it low, mid, back. We do have words like saw, so tense, and it's in my rounded box, so that makes it rounded. Lips are rounded for that word. Okay. So one aspect of the vowel information that we use are these different dimensions of vowel contrast, the height, the place, tense versus lax, and rounding, that give a unique phonetic property description of each vowel, so that I can really talk about the vowel in sort of more than one way. For something like a, I can call it the ash digraph. That's the name of the symbol. I can call it the a vowel, use the sound, or I can say it's the low front lax unrounded vowel to describe it. On the second page, we have another thing that we do with our vowel characteristics, which has to do with phonology, the idea of languages not just having sounds, but languages having sound patterns. And one of the ways languages have sound patterns is exactly with these dimensions that I've been talking about. So, for example, the three vowels oo, o, and ah all share one characteristic. Again, if I go back to my chart to look at it concretely, I've got my oo in the upper right, my o in the mid right, my ah in the lower right. They're all in the back column. They're not all rounded. They're not all at the same height. We do have words like sue and so, and I put the word sock here because of the S in the beginning. But we do have some plain old ends with ah words like spa, for example. So that makes that vowel actually a lax vowel, despite this particular example I have in this case. I guess there maybe aren't a lot of ah ending simple words, but there are a few of them out there. Okay, so they share the property of back, and I guess they do also share the property of tense. So we have back and we have tense. All right, for E in the upper left, ah in the lower right, and o in the mid right, they're not in the same column. They have different advancement. They're not in the same row. They have different heights. O is rounded and the other two aren't, so that doesn't match. My only dimension that's left is tense versus lax. And again, I knew O and ah were tense from going through it in the previous one, actually. So if I add along E, I've got words like C, so that's tense as well. And that is the only characteristic that they share. Actually, can't quite remember if for the first one I on purpose gave it two characteristics, or if I kind of accidentally gave it two characteristics. Guess we'll see if any of the others have multiple characteristics to them. Okay, for C, I have the the and the aw. Those run across the low mid section of my chart. So they share that characteristic. They're in different advancements, front, central versus back, so they don't share that. Aw is rounded, the and the aren't rounded. And also aw is tense, but the and the are lax. So the only characteristic they share then is low mid. This idea of sounds that share a characteristic is also sometimes referred to as a natural class. This is something I would definitely say while I'm doing this exercise in class, so I should mention it here. Sounds that share a characteristic get called a natural class. And I'm sure we'll use that again, if nothing else, at least with a similar exercise with consonants later. All right, my E, my A, my A are all down the left column, so that makes those all front. It's also the case that everything in the front is definitely not in the rounded box, so that makes them unrounded as well. So they share those two characteristics. E and A are tense, but A is lax. Can't make a word like ba or sa or ta or fa, or if we do, it's a little weird sounding. Maybe there's some slang thing I don't know about, but it's not a common word construction. So front and unrounded, but different in tense lax. Last but not least, a bunch of funky symbols: the 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 aw. Those guys are, oh gosh, not all at the same height, right? The and the aw and the different heights, different backnesses, one's central and one's back, different tense lax. The aw and the are tense, but the is lax. So the only characteristic they share is that they're in this rounded box in the kind of upper-ish back. So the characteristic they share is round. All right, so numbers 2 and 3 give you a couple of different ways we use these vowel characteristics. For each vowel, we have a phonetic description, which matches kind of how those vowels are articulated by positioning the tongue and maybe also using the lips. In the case of this exercise 3, we have groups of vowels that share a characteristic. And one thing we can find with phonological-based, sound-based speech and language disorders is that it's often not just one particular sound that someone has issues with, but it would be a whole set of sounds that share a characteristic. I think probably more examples of that I can think of would have to do with consonants rather than vowels. Generally, kids do pretty well eventually mastering all the vowels, except maybe that thing that's kind of blurry between being a vowel and being like an R consonant. It's a bit of an odd thing in language. All right, the rest of this lab is just some practice with the different vowel sounds. So again, my exercise that I kind of like that goes through all the different vowel sounds with a consonant frame and evaluate for each whether it's a word or not. So starts with a T and ends with a Z. So for the starting with the high front E, we would have the word tease. For the small cap I, we would have tis, which I'm going to call not a word. If you're a big Christmas fan, you might go with tis the season or something like that and say that's a word. That's a whole other kind of irrelevant discussion. The point is, to know the I sound, and if we put it together with these consonants, that we get something that sounds like tis. For the A vowel, we would get a tase. If you're familiar with the less violent taser weapon, we could say tase would be a verb version of that. You could tase somebody, so I'll take that as a word. For the we have tez, kind of like the Pez candy, but with a T. So I'm going to go with no. For we have taz, also going to go with no for that. For we have taz, which you could think of as a really weird word. If you take ta as a word and you have more than one of them, then you could have multiple tas, right? I'm going to go with not a word, though, straightforwardly. With aw, we have taws. Again, that aw vowel, maybe not all you have, but taws, not a word. With o, we have toes. That's definitely a word. With we have tuz, not a word. With we have twos. There we go. More than one, two. I don't know if you want to call that a word or not. Plural version of two. In the central area, we have our so ters, not so much. We have so tuz, also not a word. And all we've got left are our diphthongs. I gives us ties. Ow gives us tows, which if you're into Greek stuff on campus, there's probably a fraternity or sorority that get referred to as the tows. So again, could take it as a word, maybe not. Word underlines it, doesn't think it's in the dictionary. And for oi, we've got toys. So more that weren't words than were in this particular example. For p at the beginning and ch at the end, we have, peach. We have pitch with an I, page with an A, no, patch with an no, patch with an a, yes, potch with an I don't think so, potch with an aw, no, pooch with an oo, referring to a dog, putch with an no. I did pooch too soon. Before that, I was supposed to have poach with an o. Then oo with pooch. In the middle, I've got perch with an I've got putch, which I don't think is a word. I've got the diphthongs. I would give me pike. Ow would give me pouch. And oi would give me porch. So I guess that's the end of that. G and t. So for e, geet. For I, git. It's a word for me from watching too much British TV, probably. For our a, we've got gate. For we've got get. For a, we've got gat. Don't think so. For we've got. For ow, we've got gout, which is a medical condition. Not sure how you spell it. I guess not like that. Let's see. For o, we've got goat. For we've got gut, just like good, but with a t, so not a word. For oo, we've got goot. In the middle, for we've got girt. For we've got gut. For I diphthong, we've got gite. For ow diphthong, we've got gout. So did I really screw that up? Yeah, I did screw that up. That would be, that should have been got, not gout earlier. Terrible. Sorry about that. So I guess I'll put my gout there. That's how you spell it. And then for oi, we've got goit, not a word. All right. Starts with a f, ends with an l, a l sound. That might be a little tricky because that l sound kind of blends with the vowel a little bit more than things like t and z do. For e, we've got feel. For I, we've got fill. For a, we've got fail. For we've got fell. For a, we've got foul, so not a word. For we've got fall, which probably is how some of you say what I say as fall, which would have the aw in it, but we both spell it F-A-L-L. So for this exercise, doesn't really matter. For O, we've got foal, just like goal, but with an F. That's like a young deer or something. For we've got full. Full. That's another tough one because of the combination of kind of the and the L. And for we've got fool. In the middle for we've got furl and unfurl something, like a flag or something like that. For we've got full. Don't think so. For I diphthong, we've got file. For ow diphthong, we've got foul. A couple of ways you could spell that. And for oi diphthong, we've got foil. So quite a few words there. All right, for K and P, keep, kip, which is like a name, so you could use it or not. Cape, sorry, working my way down. Kep, no, like kept, but without the T at the end, not a word. Cap. In the back, we've got cop. For awe, we'd have cop, which doesn't happen to be a word like caught, but with a P. We've got coop. We've got coop. Don't think so. I did it again. We've got cope. We've got coop. We've got coop. In the middle with we've got kerp. With we've got cup. Diphthongs, I would give us kipe. Ow would give us cowp. And oi would give us coip. None of those are words. Okay, so I guess I'm done with that. Alrighty, so a little vowel, I guess, production practice, trying all the different vowel qualities in different consonant environments to see what kind of words you can get. And then last but not least, little straight up transcription. Got bumped to the next page from something I did. Little straight up transcription. First word is walk. 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 That's one of those that I've got the aw vowel in. For you, that might be walk. I got my aw from using it earlier right there, so I'll go ahead and use it. Walk. I do have wok as a word, but it's like a pan for cooking stir fry and that sort of thing. If you have trouble with that aw distinction, something that works a certain amount of the time is these aws tend to have these multiple letter spellings, A-L, A-U, A-W, that sort of thing. The ahs, different from the aws for me, tend to just be like a plain A or a plain O, like it is in wok, the cooking implement, wok, W-O-K. So sometimes that helps differentiate them if you're having a hard time hearing that, which you might if your dialect doesn't have that distinction anymore. Next, we have next. N. We need the vowel. That's our epsilon symbol. That I might also have a little bit of trouble finding. No, I got one here in the IPA. I thought maybe since it's also a Greek thing, it might have been in a different section with Greek stuff. Next. That letter X, giving us a X sound. Fairly common with X spellings, at least any place other than the beginning of the word. Okay, here we have got, got, got. So here's an example where I have the ah vowel, not the aw vowel. And again, it is that simpler spelling. So I've got a g. I need a ah symbol. It's not just the regular A you'd get when you type if we're going to really do this technically correct. There it is in my IPA. And t, got. All right, next up we have those. Those. So it's an O vowel. Tougher part of that is probably it starts with that TH. We've got the voiced version of that, though. So that's the kind of curly D with a line through it, which I don't see here in my Ds because there are some languages that use that spelling letter. So I'm going to have to hunt for it a little bit earlier. Or again, I could go to my IPA character picker, but I wasn't going to open up a browser and switch back and forth and all that. I did that before in the Lab 2 demonstration. Curly D, curly D, curly D. Did I miss it? This is just regular letters, so maybe I did. Again, you're getting the real class experience here as I fumble around and try and find this thing. I could cheat and use my little pen and just write it in there, but if y'all are gonna do this at home and not on a piece of paper, then you might be kind of filling it out this way too. Gosh, where did my curly D go? I know it's in here somewhere. Fast forward until I finally find it. Back to my IPAs. Could have swore it was before you get to the IPAs. It's not in the Greek stuff, I don't think. I'm guessing I missed it and it was earlier. Why did I put this example word in there? Why? All right, one more time. You're probably out there yelling at your screen as I scroll by it. No, you missed it. It was right there. Wait. No, I feel like it should be in with these guys somewhere. It's almost like this one, but that's not as curly as I would prefer it to be, though it's, I don't know. There's also symbols can look a little different depending on which font you're using for a thing on your computer. So maybe that is supposed to be it, and that's why I'm not finding it. Just looking for a curlier version of it. I have described it as kind of like a D with a line through it, so that is definitely a D with a line through it, and I'm back to IPAs. Okay. Giving up and going with a straighter looking D with a line through it, so as not to waste any more time than I've already wasted. Okay, O's, those. Trickier again, maybe because of the Z at the end, even though it's spelled with an S. Similar for E's, which is just the E vowel with a Z. So that one's easy with a regular spelling. And then last but not least, bath. So I got a B, that's easy. I need an A from my symbols, which I had. And then I need a voiceless version of the TH. So not the D with a line through it, but the theta Greek symbol, which I could double check and make sure isn't in my IP area. There's a capital version of the theta. A lowercase would be better, though. And I probably missed it again. Unless, oh, maybe Greek is later. Greek is later. So let's see. Greek lowercase theta. There it is. Okay. All right. Bath. Finally. And we are done. So turning this online, I can say save it as an Adobe PDF to make a nice PDF version of it. And have an old one from some other semester I did something like this. Go ahead and replace that because I probably have updated some of the stuff in the lab. And I will upload both the video and this completed lab and put them on As You Learn for y'all. So stay warm, have a nice day, and I will see you in class next time.